Oliver, UBS is the next faller out of the Libor scandal with a big, hefty $1.5 billion fine today. My understanding was that there was quite a difference in where that money was going, a lot going to the US. Can you just explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, the fines come out today as expected. It's 1.4 billion Swiss francs, which is, as had been expected over the past couple of weeks, but perhaps a bit more than was expected sort of a month or two ago. The bulk of that will go to the US. The fine from combined US regulatory authorities is $1.2 billion. Of the rest, about 59 million Swiss francs will go to the Swiss authorities, and the rest will go to the Financial Services Authority in the UK. So it's a sort of three-way split of this settlement.
But not a very fair one. I mean, why so much to the US?
Well, the US authorities tend to charge more for these sorts of regulatory infractions. There have been big fines in the US for HSBC and Standard Chartered recently. There may be more to come for other banks. The US tends to take quite a heavy line over regulatory failures, and they always tend to charge more.
Right, okay, but what does this actually mean for UBS? I mean, its share price was up today. It seems like shareholders were unfazed by what's just happened.
Yeah, I think there's some relief. It's been known that UBS has some involvement for some time now. Finally, we have a number on it. We know how much it's going to cost. They've taken the provision for it, and the hope now is that UBS can put this in the past and move on. Whether it will be able to do that is open to question. That there's been a big extra provision it's announced today. The whole provision today is 2.1 billion Swiss francs. So as well as the Libor settlement just announced, there's potentially provisions for litigation related to Libor, other regulatory settlements related to Libor, and also charges for mis-selling of residential mortgage-backed securities. So there's other issues that could still come to bite the bank.
Right, okay, but then why is there still so much support for UBS when, as you say, there's been other things as well in the past, but yet its share price has done extremely well this year? Yeah,
the shares have done very well. The shares are up about 50% since the middle of the year. That's because investors are reacting well to the company's restructuring plans. It's got big plans to radically shrink the size of its investment bank, really grow its wealth management, and in that way really take risk out of the business. Investors like that strategy. They like the cut in size of the investment bank, and that's what they've reacted to, and it's driven the share price up quite sharply, and even today it's up a little bit more.
Right, who's next then from all of this Libor stuff?
So next is potentially Royal Bank of Scotland. We know there's some exposure there, maybe it's one of the other banks, but there's still investigations going on all over the world into this, and there's still the possibility of litigation. What's difficult to know so far is whether the banks will be sued privately because of this. If somebody can prove that they lost money, say, on their mortgage payments because of the manipulation of Libor, there's potentially a big exposure there. Now, that's going to be very difficult to prove, but we don't know yet whether it's going to be possible. Right,
okay. So, I mean, overall, although UBS had this big fine today, shareholders generally seem happy with the direction that it's going in. Thank you, Oliver.